Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Minecraft Guide. In today's episode, we're going to focus on getting ourselves geared up. We're going to get enchantments for all of our gear, and then we're going to test our metal against the Marium Soulslike Bosses. The Marium Soulslike mod is a mod pack which adds a ton of weapons to the game, and it also adds a whole bunch of new bosses. We're going to focus specifically on two of the overworld bosses in today's episode, and then in our next episode we'll dive into the nether. So if you can't wait to see what happens with the bosses in today's episode, hit that like button, and if you want to see what happens with the bosses in the nether, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss next episode. One major thing we're going to want to accomplish today is get ourselves better equipment and get that equipment enchanted. So this space behind me right here is definitely a good spot for an enchanting table. So let's craft some of our equipment and enchant it up. I spent a little bit of time at our mob spawner, so we have 50 levels available, and if we need more, we can easily AFK it. In order to craft the equipment that we want for the Necromancer class, we're going to need to craft some ingots. So the ingot we're looking for is this magical ingot. You need moonlight shards, scarlet shards, and blocks of iron. So we don't have a ton of blocks of iron right now, but this should do just to get some basic stuff crafted, and then we can work on crafting, optimal equipment later on. So using EMI, we can easily search for the set that we want. Now, and a lot of times I would just search for something like, if I know I want to boost frost, I would just type frost in there. However, at this point I know that I'm going to start off with this Noble Knight set. So taking a look at this Noble Knight set, to craft this we use the smithing table, and it needs frost runes, iron gear, and the magical ingots. So conveniently we already have a bunch of iron gear, so let's start off with our chest plate. If you remember, we started with a bunch of frost runes because we picked the elf class. If you don't have any, or whatever rune you're looking for, you can easily just check in here to see how you have to craft it. And frost runes are pretty easy, just requiring either snowballs or some form of ice, something frozen. There's a lot of different ways that you can craft these runes. So let's pop in here and craft our first Noble Knight chest piece. So you'll see that we have a mythic iron chest plate. It's going to keep that mythic rarity. So a good thing to do is to try to roll a good chest plate before you start crafting your better set pieces. So just to show you, so this is our current frost spell power, 1.23. As soon as we put this on, we're up to 3.69. And if you remember, our frost spell power fuels our soul power. So now we have 4.72 soul power. Prior to that, we only had 2.36. And in general, this set just looks pretty cool. So way better looking than the iron armor. It's got like spikes on it. Once we start getting the helmet, we're just going to look pretty awesome. So before I start crafting too much of this, I would like to at least try to get some slightly better gear. So I know I want to craft the helmet. So let's see what kind of helm we can craft. Wow. That's trash. I'm going to take a break, go get some iron, and I'll be back. So given that we have at least one piece, let's just craft this enchanting table, and we can get that enchanted before we go venture out to get more iron. When we planned our house out, we had intended our enchanting table to go here, so we're going to place that down. I'm going to surround it with 18 bookshelves. The reason that I'm doing at minimum of 18 bookshelves, I'm actually going to do a little bit more for decoration purposes. But the reason I'm doing at minimum of 18 is in case I do want to change out my spell book, I want to have 18 here to maximize if I place a spellbinding table here. So I'm just placing these for aesthetic purposes. I like having, you know, an enchanting bookshelf area which looks just kind of cool. So for aesthetic reasons, I'm placing all these bookshelves. And the one thing you'll notice is I put a lectern here. At some point in today's episode, we're going to get a Mending villager. It's a very painful process in this mod pack, as there are so many more enchantments adding to the enchantment rolls. I'm actually going to time it when we do decide to do it, and I'll let you guys know how long it takes me. I think it's taken over an hour or more of actual real time. So now that we have our enchanting table, I'm going to fill it up with lapis. One of the nice things about this mod pack is that in like the crafting table, the enchanting table, if you put stuff like lapis in or items in, they'll stay there unless you take them out specifically. So you can have your enchanting table generally filled up and ready to go. And now let's try to get something decent for our Noble Knight's chestplate. So Protection 4 comes up. This is obviously a pretty decent enchantment. I'm going to get it and see what else it rolls with. In this case, it rolled with Battle Rouse. I'm not really 100% sure what that does. I'm looking for the plus to frost damage or unbreaking. Your armor in this mod pack tends to break very quickly, so unbreaking is something that I'm going to prioritize. We have a ton of levels, so I'm going to re-roll this on the grindstone and try it again. And one thing this mod pack adds that I forgot to mention is that you can re-roll your enchantments. It costs you 1 lapis and 5 experience points. Now that's not experience levels, it's simply experience points. Your average zombie gives you about 5 experience points, so it's pretty easy to be able to just re-roll things. So in this case it rolled with Unbreaking, and when I clicked on it, it comes up with Unbreaking and Protection, and then also Decaying. Although I'm a Necromancer / Death Knight, I'm not currently using Unholy and Blood, so that's not hugely interesting. Same Battle Rouse enchantment as well, but because it has Unbreaking and Protection, I'm actually going to keep this. Like I said before, your armor tends to break very quickly in this mod pack, so getting Unbreaking until you have Mending is something that I definitely am going to prioritize. So now, because I have so many levels and I have that mob spawner and pretty easy access to additional levels, I'm actually going to go ahead and try enchanting some of my other items as well, and maybe some of these books, just to see what kind of stuff I can get. So right away Fortune 3 comes up. That's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted on this. So let's grab Fortune 3 on our pickaxe. Oh my god. I believe that's pretty much perfect for what we can get. I don't know that you can get Efficiency 5 in here. So Fortune 3, Efficiency 4, and Breaking 3 is going to be exactly what I wanted on that. So for the rest of my gear, I'm just going to take whatever enchantments happen to roll. It's not necessarily anything that I care about, considering I plan on replacing these before I craft additional of the Noble Knight set. I would like to roll mythic items to put in that spot. So I still have one more level till I get below 30. So let's just see what might come up in a book for us. So we grabbed Efficiency 4, which we can combine with our Fortune 3 pickaxe here, which is going to give us Efficiency 5. And that's just going to be a great way to boost our iron collection when we go out and start looking for iron. Alright, let's head down into the mines and see what we can get as far as iron. Alright, so we got a little bit more iron, and we rolled a mythic iron helmet. This is going to be good enough for me for my purposes. So let's throw this in here and create another one of our Noble Knight set. So one of the main reasons I'm pushing for the mythics here is a lot of times they get plus to max health, so that survivability is going to be a huge bonus for us. So let's get this enchanted up and see what we get. So for now we just rolled Unbreaking. We'll see what we can do later, getting additional enchantments for this. We'll talk about other ways to enchant items, remove enchantments from items, and add them to other items and things like that. But for now we'll be good with Unbreaking. So while we're here, and before I forget and go back down to mining, I want to talk about the fact that you can make a backpack in this mod pack. So all you need is a chest and 8 leather, and you can make your initial backpack. So the backpack goes into your inventory slot here along with your chestplate item, and you can just click on it and it gives you additional inventory. So I typically put my tools in there and just generally things that I'm not using all the time. You can also upgrade the backpack, so once we get a little bit more iron, because we just used ours, you surround it with 8 iron in the crafting table, and then it'll upgrade it, and you can do that with iron, gold, and then diamond and emerald. So you can keep upgrading this item, giving you more and more inventory slots. So this is a super useful item to help with the quality of life in this mod pack, especially considering that there's just so many more items in this mod pack than there are in vanilla Minecraft. Alright, we got one more mythic. This one didn't roll plus to health, but we're going to use it for now. And I think our health is pretty sufficient. We have like 2.5 full bars of it. So we'll use this one and then go check out what enchants we get. So I ended up with Protection 4 and Frenzied. I did not get Unbreaking, but I'm below 30 levels, so we'll have to use this for now. So while we're here gearing up and enchanting, I just thought about the fact that we need a weapon as well. So the sword that I'm going to go for initially is going to be one of the Runeblades. These are the Death Knight class swords. The reason I'm going to go for them is they add frost power. So if you look at the Diamond Runeblade, you get +1 to frost spell power. So all you need is a diamond sword and a frost rune and a rune carved stone. The rune carved stone is relatively easy to make. You just need the 3 Death Knight runes and a regular piece of stone. And then these things are very easy to make as well. You just need like stone and a bone block, stone and a bone. For the blood, rotten flesh and stone. Actually, the most difficult one out of all of them to make is probably the frost rune. Only because you need to go find a biome where you can get access to some form of ice or snow. I went ahead and I crafted a few diamond swords until I got one that had at least some form of useful stat on it and a higher than average attack damage. So this one has 7.7 instead of 7 and plus 1.5 to frost spell power. So we're going to use this to make our rune blade. And there we go. So now this rune blade, because of the additional 1.5, is actually going to give us 2.5. I did enchant the sword with Unbreaking. It also rolled Smite. We'll try for better enchantments or more optimized enchantments later on. So I still need to go find more iron. I still haven't crafted a mythic set of iron leggings that I like. I did craft one mythic set, but it had the negative 40% speed modifier, which isn't something I really feel like playing with right now. So we're going to continue looking for iron until we get our full weapon and armor loadout, and we'll meet back here. These guys are making short work of him. Oh, apparently my wraiths hate iron golems. Something to keep in mind, I guess, if you're ever in a village. Alright, I'm basically at the point where I give up. So we're going to call Legendary good enough. It rolled some max health, so that's kind of what I'm looking for on my armor set. So we're going to throw that in there and get our last piece of the Noble Knight's leggings. So unfortunately what I should have done was combined this with the other one, so I would have had the protection on it. But let's go enchant this and see what we get. Alright, so we ended up rolling Protection 4, which has also got Spell Breaking and Lucid. Spell Breaking increases our chance to ignore suppressed spell damage. I don't really know what that means. And then Lucid increases our mana generation, so that could be kind of nice. So now that we have this full set, along with our Runeblade, we have a total amount of armor of 41, armor toughness of 23. Our attack damage, not a huge deal, but 7.7. And then our frost spell power is 14. The frost is going to increase our soul spell power, which is going to be 17. And then our max health is 51. So at this point, even with just the minimal amount of work we've done, right? We've only gone out, got iron, we've never went to the nether. You know, we haven't done anything crazy with enchanting other than stuff that we've got out of the spell table. You're gonna handle most of the enemies you're gonna come across. I would venture to say, and we'll go out and start getting them, that the Soulslike Bosses aren't going to be that much of a challenge either. There's really only one more item that I'm going to want, and we'll save this for next episode when we go to the nether. But given that I currently have a one-handed sword, I'm going to go for this, which is going to give us a 50% boost of frost power and then 4 additional soul power. So a 50% boost of frost power right now is going to give us about, 6 to 7-ish, well, really 7 additional frost power, bringing us up to like 20-something, which is going to boost our soul spell power by the same. And then it has an additional amount to soul spell power, another 4. So we're going to be looking at something in the 20s and then a little below 30 in the soul spell power range. Once we have that, that's kind of the equipment we're going to use for a long time. We might go into some kind of attempt to min-max using some of the percentage-based items to see if we can coax more power out of this. And then, like I said, at some point we'll respec. But for now, we're kind of in a good way. And one thing we can do now, because remember I said we can upgrade our backpack as we go along. So we're going to upgrade this backpack. Most upgrades initially are just putting the backpack in the middle and surrounding it with the appropriate ore type. The diamond upgrade actually also needs emeralds. And then that's going to give us a ton of space. So if you look now, we have more than our inventory size in our backpack. So this is going to really be helpful. Once you get a backpack size of this, if you wanted to carry around things with you, like I tend to carry around emeralds with me in case I hit a village. You could carry around all types of stuff with you. It just gives you a lot more versatility. You don't have to come back to base as much. And lets you go out and stay on mining expeditions just that much longer. So that backpack mod is a super useful mod, which now that we have it, it's not maxed out. You can still put netherite to upgrade it. I believe the wither star and some kind of, I don't even know, but you can upgrade it other times as well, but this is kind of as far as we're going to get it reasonably until we progress much further. Alright, so one thing I said I was going to do is get mending today, so let's see how long that takes. I'm going to use my stopwatch. We'll see if I even get this before I have to go to work. It's 10:20 in the morning right now. I gotta leave here by noon. See if we have mending before noon. What are you doing? Get back to your station. Hey. Where are you trying to go? Yeah, you get in here. You get in here and do what you're supposed to. Why do you keep going over to the corner? What's in that corner? No, nothing. Can't go there. Give me mending book. Oh. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Where did my mending villager go? That little jerk. Get. Marlana, you're really annoying me right now. Get in there, Marlana. I mean, that's not the most optimal solution right now, but I can't risk Marlana here going off and dying on us. So all in all, I guess it wasn't that bad. It is 10:50 right now. I dilly-dallied for a couple of minutes, so I would say 10:45. So you figure about 25 minutes to get a mending book. Your mileage may vary. I feel like it's taken me a lot longer than that in some of my worlds, like early on when I was trying to get mending books in all of my 101 worlds. But now we can throw mending on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. So let's throw it on our most essential things. I'm actually going to throw it on my pickaxe, not on my sword, as the sword doesn't break very quickly, so we can get it again later. So with the Necromancer and that soul shot kind of ability that we have going on, this spawner is now completely AFK for us. So we can just stand here, all the items will funnel into this chest. You get mostly useless items anyway, and then all your experience will come out of here and go to you, and that soul shock ability just kills them. I'm sorry, it's the lightning rod ability. So you can just stand here at the spawner, and this lightning rod ability will just kill all your mobs. Completely AFK this thing. While we're talking about abilities, we might as well grab another couple of skill points. Going down this way towards Empower, and then we're going to go down this way and grab our final Wraith. Just be careful when you're picking skills in this tree, because there are some skills you might not want. Like, I definitely don't get this one. I'm not going to get this one. I'm not going to get this one. So, just be mindful. Alright, so now that we have our Mending Villager, our mostly fully enchanted armor setup, and, our food sources, we're pretty much ready to progress. Now, up to this point, I like slow playing and kind of setting myself up for success. You could have easily logged into this mod pack, gone and raided a couple village, got some equipment, gone into like the mine cells, stacked up some enchantments, and started killing some bosses and things like that. But for me, I've been doing a lot of that with the 101 series, just trying to maximize the use of my time and just progress through the game to crank out the video. I wanted to take this world, somewhat nice and slow. So I think the next step for us is to go find the old champion and see how our Necromancer is going to do in a combat situation. So I had found... One of the things I want to point out when you start doing this is the questing. So we've completed most of Chapter 1. Now, I have not checked it off, but, obviously we've looked at villagers, found villages, got the necessities done. I actually at some point must have looked at a dog, so we can complete that. It's not immediately apparent when you're looking at this that once you've completed Chapter 1, you can come up here and click on this check mark and get a couple of additional items, including an Orb of Origin. So remember we said don't stress your origin too much. Now if you ever want to change it, here you go, you can. Once you're done with Chapter 1, you come down here, and in this case we've already found Verglass and Moonstone, so we can immediately complete this as well. The next thing that we want to do is craft the Moonstone Compass, which will take us to the old champion's remains. You'll see that the Soulslike quest line is pretty much mirrored through Chapter 2. So when we completed that here, it automatically gave it to us here. So Chapter 2 is going to be taking us through the majority of these bosses. So I'm going to go ahead and craft 3 compasses because there are 3 different kinds of compasses that we're eventually going to want to make. But we're going to start with the Moonstone Compass. So for this, pretty simple, you just need Moonstone. I believe it's just Moonstone, but yeah, just Moonstone. So 8 pieces of Moonstone and a compass, and there you go, you have your compass. With that, we should be able to complete this quest here, which is craft the Moonstone Compass. The only thing is that the quest in Chapter 2, you required to craft 2 additional compass, the Explorer's Compass and the Nature's Compass. So for the Explorer's Compass, you're just going to need cracked stone bricks. So we'll take this, come over to our crafting table, turn those into stone bricks and throw them into a smelter for now to get them going. And then the Nature's Compass, you're going to need some kind of log, doesn't really matter, and some kind of sapling, doesn't really matter. And then you should be able to just craft the Nature's Compass. So you need 4 of each. While we were doing that, we're going to need, I believe, 4 cracked stone bricks, but we're also going to need cobwebs. So in case you're having trouble in this mod pack, there's a bunch of structures that spawn with cobwebs. The dungeons spawn with cobwebs. You can find them in chests. But there's both overland and below ground structures that spawn with them. So get yourself a set of shears and just go find one of those structures. But the cobwebs are probably the hardest of any of these ingredients to really have on hand. And then once you've done that, you can come back in here and craft your Explorer's Compass. So there you go. You now have all 3 of the major compasses that this mod pack has to offer. So the Moonstone Compass in the overworld is always going to point to the old champion's remains. The Explorer's Compass allows you to search for structures. So if there's a structure you want to go, you can type it in here. So let's just say we were looking for a woodland mansion. Alright, so the woodland mansions are actually just there's all different kinds of these things now. So they did with the repurposed structures mod, there's a ton of them. But you're looking for a mansion, here you go, find a mansion. If you're looking for something in the nether, you can do the same thing. Once you're in the nether, it will point you in the right direction. You can also type kind of keywords, and then if I was going to say nether, it would show me anything that comes up with the word nether in it. So it's a really useful compass, especially if there's certain things that you're targeting. Like especially when you get the nether, if you need a bastion because you're looking for a smithing template, this will help you. The final compass is the Nature's Compass, and this lets you search for biomes. So this is especially nice if there's a particular biome you want to build in, or a particular wood type you're looking for. You know, if I want snow, you know, it will automatically, I could just type snow and it would point me in the direction of one of these biomes here. So all three of these compasses are pretty nice. I tend to store them all in my backpack at the same time, so I always have them in case I want to use them. So now that we have our compass, we can go search out the old champion. So I, while mining, happen to stumble across the location where he is, and he's very close. So if you're playing along and played with this world seed, this is one of those things you sometimes have to go thousands of blocks to look for this guy. And this one, he's basically right over here. So you can see we're already got his health bar and we're within visual distance of our base still. So the old champion sometimes can be problematic in finding, as the compass points to kind of his general location, but it might be hard to actually locate him. So what you're looking for is something like this. So he spawns inside what it's basically considered a structure. It's usually supposed to be underground, but if it spawns on the side of the hill, which typically it does, there's going to be part of this generation that's exposed. So just look for that really unnatural looking generation and then get to the top of that area, and he's going to be somewhere in there. So it looks like there's all types of broken generation going on here. A lot of this can make it confusing, but here it is. This is what you're looking for. It's he spawns inside this kind of hole in the ground. It's like a crypt or a tomb. So sometimes it's hard to find. It's just like you can see, like with all the trees around and all the terrain. If you're having trouble finding him, you can also just dig towards the middle of that structure if you're like coming in from the wall. So let's drop in there and see how we do. I don't know what he did right there. He just completely stopped me in my tracks. So just my wraiths and my... Wow. So just my wraiths and that lightning ability alone is what just took them out. So the lightning rod effect had him down to 50% before I even summoned my wraiths, and then obviously you saw that. I was going around placing torches because I wanted the replay mod footage to look a little bit better. Apparently I'm never even going to have good replay mod for it because he just died so quickly. I didn't even take a swing. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier with this mod pack. You can jump right into it and face these bosses much less geared, but overall these bosses are not a huge threat if you gear up appropriately. Now, if you want to make this mod pack a challenge, start going further out from your starting location, because the further away you are, the higher the monsters' levels are, which means the more hit points they have, and they can become harder and harder. But because, especially with this guy where he spawned immediately next to our starting location, he was just ridiculously underpowered. So once you kill him, you should just double check, but make sure you have both a Lord Soul and an Essence of Eventide and the Draugr. These are the things that you'll need to resummon him or to summon one of the other bosses. Most of these bosses can be summoned multiple times. So now you'll see that that completed a few quests for me, and it's suggesting the next thing I do is find a Cathedral of Resurrection. I'm just going to check out, usually, yeah, there's some kind of a crypt for him. There's not much in here typically, but as I'm a Necromancer, I want to have some skulls around my base, so I'm going to take those, and there's usually some diamonds and a gold block. So once you have him done, if you're looking for the champion, you can pop in and grab your Explorer's Compass, and then you would be looking for the Cathedral of Resurrection. Cathedral of Resurrection. So it looks like this is quite a hike. So one thing I have as this is the direction it's pointing me, I had found another village over here, which has a waypoint. So I'll go back to our home location and use the waypoint to get myself just a little bit closer to the direction this thing's pointing me to go. While we're here, we're just going to do a little bit of exploring and find out, make sure to see if there's anything good in any of these chests. Oh, okay. So this is a good item to find. It's the villager hat. You can equip it, and you can actually turn off the, unless you want to look like a farmer dude with some kind of a funny hat on. You can turn that off. But yeah, so you can equip this, and it will decrease your villager prices. So this is pretty much an essential item that at some point you typically will find in villages, and you really want to make sure you try to find that. All right, 4,000 blocks to go. Ooh, friend? Friend! See if he makes it. Oh, 3,600 blocks to go. Okay, looks like we found ourselves our Cathedral of Resurrection. So we traveled several thousand blocks, and here we are. If you're ever looking for one of these, this is kind of what it looks like from above. So if you see this structure on the map, just mark it. That's your Cathedral of Resurrection. So typically when you go in there, you're going to find these guys here. Well, my wraiths take care of everything, but they're little sorcerer dudes who will start kind of attacking you, and they should drop these lost soul items. The lost souls is what you end up needing in order to summon the boss here. I'm just going to kind of like light it up for better visibility while we're fighting him. And all these cathedrals have chests in them where you can usually find, random items and things like that. Not always necessarily saying they're going to be good items, but got to get all the bones to get more doggy friends. Since friend met an unfortunate end. Alright, so let's give this guy a go. We got one of these dudes up here attacking us. And these guys will get summoned by him periodically while you're fighting him. They don't really do a ton of damage, they just heal him, which is annoying. So make sure you take them out every time you see them along the way. If he seems like he's not dying, there's probably one hiding someplace. So like I said, you just need your lost soul, you go up, click on the altar, and it will summon him up. So there he goes, and he summons all his little ads. We're going to summon ours. Ours are better. Of course, I'm lagging right now, so that's annoying. There we go. So he can do this attack, which will smash you up in the air like he just did to me. But as of now, he's not really a huge threat to me. Oh, there. So usually my minions will take care of those little healers. For some reason right now my key bindings are messed up and my block keeps getting triggered instead of my ability. Not a big deal. There's a healers over here. Oh, he managed to kill a couple of my wraiths. Oh, there's another healer. See, sometimes these guys get hard to see in the chaos that starts kind of occurring. In just a second, I'll be able to resummon my wraiths, and that should bring him down for the most part. Oh, didn't need to. So he'll drop a whole bunch of items. The Lord Soul is really the main reason you kill him. However, this Nightfall is just a pretty cool item to have. It's got a whole bunch of different abilities. It can end up raising undead companions, gives you all types of abilities. I can't even see them because the tooltip goes off the screen. So he definitely took a lot longer than our old champion. I keep calling this guy the returning champion. He's a returning knight. But he took a lot longer than the old champion did. But at no point were we really at any kind of risk. Like I said, the Necromancer is a very versatile, strong class. So no real issues with him. And we're going to head back to a village that I discovered along the way, which had a waypoint, and get back home from there. Okay, so we're back at our base, and I think this is a good place to wrap up this episode. Before we do that, though, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this XP block so we can go through all the quests that we completed and hopefully save our XP someplace nice and safe in this block. So this block is kind of used essentially so you can store your enchanting levels in this. So if you die or something like that, you don't lose them all. So we're going to make this and find a nice home for it upstairs. Okay, so this XP block essentially lets you save your levels, and in order to do so, you just hold on shift and right click, and if you'll see, all my levels are gone and they all are now in here. This is kind of stuck in the stairs, but it'll actually show you how much experience is there. It's also in the top left of your screen there. And you can click on it to take them out one level at a time. So I'm just going to grab a couple for using waystones and leave the rest in there. And the main reason I wanted to do this is because we're about to complete a bunch of quests. So today we set out to do Act 1 and 2 completed. We've already done Act 1. Looks like we got the Nature's Compass and never took that. And now we're going to get Act 2. So Chapter 2 was all the overworld Soulslike Bosses. So we'll get all these completed here. The Returning Knight actually gives you a pretty decent loot here. And then finally, once we've done that, we can complete Chapter 2, which gives us the Malevolent Manuscript. So now we have an Orb of Origin and a Malevolent Manuscript, so we can change our origin and reallocate our skill points as needed. So for Chapter 2, we got netherite scraps, netherite ingots, diamonds, obsidian, all types of useful stuff. This runic tablet, this nice ruby ring, all types of useful stuff for us to use. And then, if you see, I now have 104 levels. So this is one of the reasons why I made this block. I don't really want to walk around with 104 levels on me in case something happens, so I can just pop them all in there. If you look at the way that worked, I had it said was 104 levels, but when I put it in here, even though there was 30 levels in there, it now says 106. So that's a mistake on my part, because when you accept these quests, it gives you an actual level instead of a set amount of experience. So had I kept those 30 levels on me, I probably would have had 134 levels. Either way, we have a great source of experience in our spawner, not a huge deal, but if we need enchanting, this is the place we're going to go. So although our goal was to go through all the Marium Soulslike mod today, I think it's going to be best if we leave some of that for next episode, because I don't think adding the nether to this episode is, that'll just make this too long. So we're going to go get the Decaying King in the next episode. We already could do this, but we'll do this in the next episode and get the Fallen Icon. And then talk about some of these other things in this Marium Soulslike Bosses mod. Alright, well, we set out and accomplished most everything we wanted to in this episode. If you're following along, in the next episode we'll be ready to go to the Nether, build a Nether portal, and explore the remainder of, well, really just the one additional Marium Soulslike boss that we have there, and discuss some of the other things in the mod, like some of the weapons you can craft and things like that. But in the meantime, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.